And living the opportunity to live our lives is like that, you guys. Like when every day you wake up, you have an opportunity to try new things and to expand your freedom. But it is not going to come unless you're willing to fail, unless you're willing to break your patterns of seeking comfort as your default. Your default gets to be, okay, let me try something here that's gonna have me live like I'm actually alive. And it's really time to wake up and to live this life rather than watch other people live it and wake up someday at the end of your life and look back.
Amen to that. Watch other people live it. And yes! Hey guys, we are a brand new podcast. Now it's Paul and I sharing the male and female perspective of all the things we coach on. But we really want to elevate that and bring in all sorts of amazing people that can really have you see the world in a different way to create more freedom in your lives.
Yes, and one of the ways if you could do a big favor for us, one way that really helps is if you just subscribe.
It's free, and then it allows us to really tailor things to what you need. You can comment, tell us what you want to hear about, and we will really listen to what it is that you're requesting.
Yes, that's the biggest thing you can do that helps us the most is to hit that subscribe button and share this with someone. So
forever grateful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Welcome to episode 4 of the Freedom Alchemist podcast, where today we're talking about how everything you want is outside of your comfort zone and how
comfort is the enemy.
Comfort is the enemy. I'm Paul Greene, and this is
Kate Austin. And here on this podcast, we're in conversation of all things that create more freedom, more expansion in your life. And freedom's such a moving target for every person. You know, what it means to one person is totally different to another.
Yeah.
So that's why we ask you to subscribe to our channel. That way our subscribers can be in communication with us. Let us know what are the topics that really pertain to what you need in your life to help you create more freedom, because that's what we're really committed to. So hit the subscribe button right now, and then we'll get ready for this juicy episode.
Yes, the everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. It's I remember when I heard that, it's sort of counterintuitive, you know, because you think that in our society now, it feels like everything is geared towards just being comfortable. Like that's what they're selling in advertising.
Yes, absolutely. Like, and what that looks like is Netflix and chill. Like everyone's, it's like a status to be like, yeah, I'm Netflixing, chilling. But you know, what that truly does is it robs you of creativity. It saps up your life. Like people say they've got no time to do anything, but they'll spend 6 hours watching TV in the evening, you know? And so that is the ultimate, like, comfort is killing you because it's sucking your life away.
That's really. Right. I saw this meme where it's like, no time to go to the gym, 1 hour. Oh, I don't have time. A new episode of Breaking Bad or whatever is like 1 hour. It's like, oh, that sounds fun. And then 5 episodes later, like, I'll just watch another one. So it is definitely, our society is not geared for us to move outside of our comfort zone. It's like, it's desirable always to have us with advertising, with pharmaceutical drugs, with food. It's just comfort. And even in relationships, like the reason our relationship works and one of the turning points is you decided to do what was uncomfortable. You decided to do the opposite of what you've always done in relationships. You played a game. You're like, all right, when this happens, I'm just going to do the opposite of what I'm feeling.
And I was willing to lose. I think that's the main thing. You have to play the game. You have to get uncomfortable, and you have to be willing to lose. And so many people are so committed to not losing that they completely lose all the time. Like if you aren't prepared to fail, if you aren't prepared to look stupid a little bit, if you aren't prepared to just be like, I don't know what I'm doing, and get super uncomfortable. Because when we learn something, it's uncomfortable because our brain is processing and we feel like an idiot a lot of the time because it's like, I don't know how to do this and everybody else is so much better than me. And so most people will quit before they even start because they just don't like that feeling of feeling stupid. And I don't know, this probably goes back to childhood when you're at school and you put your hand up because you're really excited because you had an answer.
Yeah.
And then the teacher was like, no, that's wrong. And everyone laughed at you. And
Yeah.
then you were like,
Idiot.
I'm never going to put myself out there again. I'm never going to look stupid again.
Right.
And so this primal creature brain, our amygdala, will be like, okay, let's just keep him safe. Keep it cool. Keep it cool. Don't do anything that makes you look stupid, makes you feel stupid, because we never want to go back there again. And so then we live this life, Netflix and chilling, or like not putting ourselves out there, not requesting what we want. And then we wonder why we're stuck, or why we don't feel fulfilled, or how we got here. It's like, how did I get here? This was not what I dreamed of.
Right.
This is not the life I wanted. Like, get up, go to work, come back, Netflix and chill, like start to live for a weekend where you
repeat.
Where you drink so you're numbing yourself out, or do other things to numb yourself. TV is numbing yourself out. Drinking is numbing yourself out. Drugs is numbing yourself out.
Social media, all of it.
Prescription drugs to get you to sleep is numbing yourself out. All of these things is like, let's numb ourselves out so we feel comfortable.
Right.
But then we wonder where our life went.
Yeah.
So.
And we're working against biology, because your brain, its only job is to keep you alive. It doesn't want you to have an adventure. It doesn't want you to try new things. Its job is to keep you safe. And like the way our ancestors were, like taking risks could mean you died. Nowadays, taking risks just means it's a bit of an inconvenience, mostly, like the way that our society is set up. So you're hardwired for comfort. Like your brain doesn't care if you're growing or changing or evolving. Its job is to keep you safe and alive, the body. And so you're really up against something when you take risks, or you try something new, or you push yourself further than you've ever gone. And so that's why the default mode of just like, oh, I'm safe here, I'm comfortable here, why it's in some cases, sometimes with coaches or without a community that's pulling you forward, it's so hard to change and so easy to stay the same. And why often people default back to where they were, because that's what they know, and that's comfortable, and that's safe, and the brain's like, yeah, I know this. I know this.
We are good. We're
good
going to
here.
live another day.
Yeah, that's all it cares about, is keeping the thing that's carrying it around alive.
And what it doesn't realize for nearly everyone is what it's doing is killing you. Like if you need comfort in ice cream on the sofa while you're watching Netflix, or you need to grab a bag of chips because you're feeling stressed, or all of these things that give you a temporary sense of comfort, is killing you slowly, And so, but the brain doesn't know that. The creature brain, the amygdala, doesn't know that. Its one job is like, let's like keep everything cool and calm and comfortable. And so there are, the other parts of your brain need to come online. And if you see an extreme version of that, think about people that really push the limits of what even their physical. Let's look at like base jumpers and extreme adventure sports. They have hardwired their brain to continue to push the limits because they get addicted to that thrill, to what their body can do, what the mind can do when it's pushed to the limit, and they wire their brains in a way, maybe too much so, right, where they're just putting themselves in danger constantly to get that high, that feeling of feeling truly alive, and what this vessel can do, obviously, until they have some sort of scary big accident. Some of them just get back on and go for it again, because that high, that way of living is far more exciting.
There's guys that squirrel jump, like off mountains, where they jump off of a mountain with their squirrel suit on, and they're flying close to the cliff, and then they catch enough air to lift, and then they fly through the valleys in a squirrel suit. I mean, I'm not sure. That is just
one gust of wind, and they're smashed against the rocks.
They must not have children. It's like, I want to ride motorcycles, but Kate's like, no,
I'm like,
not here,
not in LA. Yeah. Everyone's like doing a live or like filming themselves while they're fanging on a 90 miles an hour on a freeway. I'm like, no, not here.
But under the umbrella of freedom, like choosing something that challenges your soul, and that allows you to move outside of what you're familiar and into this land of adventure, will give you, it might feel like it's taking away freedom, but it gives you so much more freedom on the other side of taking that big leap out of what you know. And you're here in this area. Some of you have been experienced life showing up the exact same way for a very long time. And you go to work in your little box car and you sit in front of a box thing like your computer, and you're on your box phone, and you get in your box car and you watch a box TV in your box house, separate from other people, really, like
and
me.
Separate from nature, and separate from how we're designed to function at our highest.
Yeah. But so this, in the conversation of freedom and, choosing something that's hard, and especially when it comes to moving your body, it might feel hard to go for a walk, right? It might feel hard to go to the gym or to yoga or to some breath work thing. It might feel hard compared to sitting on the sofa, but choose your hard, man, because that little hard is a lot easier than what chronic illness looks like 20, 30 years down the road for not moving your body.
All you have to do is ask someone that can no longer walk, that can no longer use their body because it's broken down, because it's atrophied. And that hard is so much worse than the hard of like, oh, I'm just going to get up and walk. I'm going to get up and go to the gym. I'm going to get up and do these things. So it's truly the easiest thing to do is usually like the thing that will become the hardest in the past. Like with children, right? We have a 3-year-old, and we have kept him away from sugar. And everyone's like, how have you managed that? And it's like, it's not hard for us because we don't have sugar in the house. We don't bring treats. We don't have processed sugar. We just don't. We work with too many people that do and see what happens. So it's just like, and some people look at us like we're mean or like, and it's like, if you knew, it's almost like, why don't you just get out some crack cocaine and like give that to them, because it's like, it's that addictive. It's that bad for children, for their brain development, but we're such a society that has brainwashed and trained that sugar is a treat and sugar is love, that people look at you like there's something wrong with you if you don't give your child sugar.
Yes, and the rise of ADHD medication like Ritalin and some of these, this is definitely on the same rise of ultra processed food where sugar's in everything. And your kid has a hard time focusing in school when they're smashed with sugar from the very first cereal that they eat in the morning. All day long, there's just no ability to focus. So, and with also the way we parent, it's like the easy thing to do is to throw them on a TV or throw them on a screen, or in the moment when we're frustrated is to, in a sense, parent with like the way that we're parented, in a sense, is like, do what I say. Like it actually, the thing that's hard in the long run creates grace and ease. But in the moment, it's really understanding like, choosing hard now will make things easier in the long run. Choosing easy now will make things much harder in the long run. And everything's up backwards and upside down, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, and I totally understand, people that do use screens because they need a moment, especially single parents. Like, we are not supposed to parent as one person. We're meant to be in a tribe with uncles and aunts and grandparents, and most of us we don't have any family around us. We don't live in a place where tribe is really celebrated, and it is hard work. And we're lucky because we both very, very hands-on parents, so we have each other. Not everyone has that, and it's and it's on one person. It's so challenging. So I totally understand that this could, if you are. If you need a screen to give yourself a moment, I totally understand that. And so many of the people that are complaining that their teenagers don't connect with them or aren't interested in seeing them is maybe because they were placed there earlier and there was a lack of connection, and there's so many times where it would be so much easier to just like have a moment. But we've noticed, like, I remember we were stranded in an airport once. Some crazy storm came through and we got delayed like 4 or 5 hours.
A long time to be with a 1-year-old.
Yeah. And And we saw all the other children sitting there on their screens just watching a movie and being totally content. And we don't do screens. So we ended up like running around the airport and playing chase and doing all like we created moments. We created memories. I'll never forget that
running around that tree.
Yeah, like it was like Christmas tree, and we were just having so much fun, and we were laughing while everyone else was miserable because all their flights were cancelled. And I'll never forget that moment. That no one can take that from us ever, because it was a moment. Whereas if we were screen people, it would have been a screen, and that moment would be like just gone. Like it would just be like every day, like, oh, we got delayed and we watched TV, So it's like it feels harder, but there's so much connection and opportunity on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And, this is zero judgment on anyone that you got to parent however you need to parent to get to do. It's like, it's hard work. And in this day and age with all the technology available, we're losing connection. We're losing the moments that make up a life.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what is it, for most people that gets in the way? Like, what is the sabotage or the belief system that gets in the way? Like, for me, I want to share something personal. Is I had a belief that I was never having children. Like, it was strong. It wasn't just like, maybe one day. It was like, a hell no.
Right.
And it was because I had an extraordinary mother that was so committed to me in every way that she was almost like a slave to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could never do any less than what she's done, and I care about freedom too much to do that. So I'm never having a child. Like, I want to be free. And children meant confinement to me. Like, I was literally the type of person that when people were like, I'm having a baby, I was like, oh. Like, like I was like, oh, there goes your life. Like, I can say this now because I have a child, but I was that person. Like, I was that person.
Yeah.
I was so like, there was nothing in me that was like gooey or like really
maternal,
maternal in any way, which is so funny because having a child has been the most natural, easy thing. And I think it's because I didn't have all these beliefs around who I was going to be as a mother. And I think that so many mothers have these images from such a young age of how they're going to be as a mother and what it's going to be like. And they build up this fairy tale image of it all. So when the reality comes in, it's a lot harder. Yeah. And so they're like, oh, it's the hardest thing you've ever done. You hear that all the time. It's the most beautiful and the hardest thing you've ever done. And for me, I had an image of it being the worst thing in the world. So everything since then has been like, this is fantastic. Like, this is great, because my belief system had me in a different place, right? And so our beliefs can create prisons or it can set us free. And so it's really, I also have a belief, my whole family has a belief that we're miraculously healthy at all times and we heal really quickly. That has served us very well our whole lives. My mother's 84, doesn't take any medications, is like super active, is just a healthy human being. Yeah. And so that's really, that belief has served us greatly. So it's like, what beliefs do you have around your health or around money or around, these little things that are potentially making a prison of your life?
Yeah. And like, where can you make a choice to choose something that's outside of your comfort zone? Because like I said at the beginning, everything you want is outside of your comfort zone. So if you want to experience anything different than what you're experiencing right now, it actually requires a bit of pain,
a different action,
and a different set of steps. And it will be uncomfortable. It will be confronting. You will feel like quitting. But like I've been on 700 auditions or whatever or more as an actor, and I've had 650 times someone tell me, no, like, you're not it. And so there's a sense like I know this deep down, all I have to do is not quit. Like there's a lot of actors that with that much rejection would just quit and be like, oh, no. And like, it's like so many people, when it gets hard, they just quit. And it's like, in most of you, whatever you're doing, in order to be great, you just have to keep going and not quit, because most people, when it gets a bit uncomfortable, they quit. So your competition out there is also reaching for the comfort zone. If you have competition, let's say you're in a world where you're trying to excel in what you're doing. And you know, it's definitely confronting when you face these dragons and these new things, but you feel alive, you feel fulfilled, you feel like you're getting up, you're waking up for something that's like super exciting and worth living, and there's risk and there's failure and it's a way of living that really you're living like you're actually alive.
So if you're in a place where you feel you've maxed out everything that you know how to do and you're still in a bit of a Groundhog's Day, you are a prime person for really stepping into what it is to have a coach. Someone that can show you a fresh perspective and show you who you are as your greatest self without all the stuff and the sabotages that get in the way of how you think of yourself.
That's right, because a lot of folks have blind spots. It's hard to sometimes see the areas that you don't know that you don't know. And Kate and I have many different coaches and people that we look to help us see the areas that we can't necessarily see. So you might be in a place in your life where you're like, okay, I've tried this on my own, and now I need some support. And Kate and I have a really great system of engaging and helping support you and connecting you to a life that you truly want and love.
And we truly believe everyone can heal as long as they're in the right environment to do so.
That's right.
And not just heal, like really elevate to the person you've always known you could be, you should be, but haven't quite got there. Then talk to us, reach out and see, and we can see if we're a great fit to work together.
Great. So back to the podcast. At the very end, in the description, you'll see a place where you can connect with us. All right. And it's such a difference for a lot of folks are on sleepwalking through life on autopilot, programmed by the news and by their televisions and their programs that they watch.
And their friends and their community. We're being programmed by everything in our environment.
Yes.
That's why they say choose your friends, for top 5 friends. But yeah.
Yeah. And so just if you're looking for freedom in your life, and our podcasts and our conversations that we are excited to bring to you guys. This is episode 4. This is the time when most podcasts quit. By the way, to be in the top 5% of podcasts, you just got to make it past episode 4.
Past episode 3.
So we've
we're
made
like,
it.
wait, woohoo!
Of this podcast together. So where are you in your life looking for freedom and growth and expansion? You have to want that more than you want the comfort of Netflix and chill. And it just takes baby steps. It takes actually some of you going out for a walk and going, oh, it's cold out here. And it's warm inside. I just want to get inside where it's warm. But as you're out there, every step, you're literally reprogramming yourself to choose things that are a little bit harder. And you'll get a life of a quality and of a tone that you enjoy, rather than this flat thing where you're on autopilot and stimulated by advertising and the fears of news, and you're not really living. In the movie The Matrix, you're just plugged into something. And when you unplug and you are in the real world, it's it's uncomfortable and it's scary and there's things to confront, and it's actually what's being alive.
And I really address this whole failure thing. I don't know when failure became so bad. And I know some failures can really take people out. If it's a big financial failure and it's flattens someone, that can really impact life in a very profound way, or, health failures. So big failures can really, really impact you. And anyone that has done anything truly extraordinary in this world, and as maybe a name that we all know, they went through hundreds, thousands of failures. And Thomas Edison, perfect example. There's, 1,000 attempts, 900 and something attempts until he got the light bulb. How many people would have given up at 200, 5, 20? How many people would have, this doesn't work, right? It's how much can you stay with something? And he obviously didn't have this, I'm the failure. Just because something fails doesn't mean you're the failure. It just means that it didn't quite work. When I spoke about miscarriage, the cellular structure wasn't there. And that's why the baby miscarriages. Is not because of you being a failure, right? And so how can we start taking the ego out of failure? And that was fun. I just learned something and I feel alive. So, because we don't want a neutral life. I know people think they want a neutral life, but anyone that has a neutral life is so bored out of their brains and feels so unalive. It's not funny. You need the highs and lows, because the lows make us appreciate the highs, and when we're in the lows, something that I always do if things get really, this doesn't feel good in any way, is, whatever comes after this is going to be great. And it's a disruptor to really have your reticular activated system, your brain, start to seek out what amazing thing is going to come from this failure, from this low, from what's going on, especially because, they have if things happen in threes, is a belief that when we bring, when there's boom, 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 and all of these things happen, and I have a theory, actually, about these things happening in threes, especially death. Seems death of people that are close to you. So many of my clients, myself, people that I've experienced, it seems to happen that 1, 2, 3 people in a row that deeply matter to you, it seems to happen that way. And I wonder if it's kind of by design in a way, so that you can process and deal with it, because you're never given more than you can deal with. I truly believe that. And it's a way of upgrading your system and upgrading your beliefs and upgrading who you are and how you deal with things. And you can either be swallowed or you can rise from it. But if we had someone pass that really matters to us and we just got through that grieving process, and then another person, and then it's done by design, that it happens all at once. So you have to bundle that grief and process it. You can't run away from it. You have to process it and deal with it in whichever way you know how, whatever tools you have, so that you can learn the lessons and rise from it and deal with it in that moment. I do believe there's something about that. So how can we shift this conversation where failure or these big things that happen at once become the very thing that we rise from? The very thing that creates who we are, that gives us our substance to step into the person we were designed to be, the person God created us to be. And that's what failure is. If you're not failing, you're not living, you're not trying anything new, you're just stuck in comfort. Yeah. And so what if failure was exciting? What if we could shift it to, that sucked. I sucked at that. And it was just something that I did. It was a part of me that tried something and it didn't work. So now I know to try something else, rather than allowing our entire ecosystem to crash and burn us, that we are the problem, that the fundamental flaw is us. Any of the big, if you think of Steve Jobs, or you think of all of these, Elon Musk, whatever you think of him, he continues to try things. He has failed at many things, but because he's willing to continue to fail, there's these wild successes that come from that, Yeah. So, yeah.
And failing will be happening outside of your comfort zone. And so it will be a little counterintuitive when you get out there, because you'll be trying things and it'll hurt. It'll failure. You'll feel, and that's why reframing failure as an important part of our human process. Then, so you're not surprised when failure happens. And for example, if I'm acting and I'm just trying to be safe and get a performance that's likable, it will be so flat and so predictable and so boring. If I'm willing to take risks in the take and push things a bit, it might be terrible and embarrassing. And the director then can say, all right, let's pull that back a little bit. And where we end up will at least be someplace exciting. And it's living the opportunity to live our lives as that, you guys. When every day you wake up, you have an opportunity to try new things and to expand your freedom. But it is not going to come unless you're willing to fail, unless you're willing to break your patterns of seeking comfort as your default. Your default gets to be, okay, let me try something here that's gonna have me live like I'm actually alive. Mm-hmm. And it's really time to wake up and to live this life rather than watch other people live it and wake up someday at the end of your life and look back.
Amen to that. Watch other people live it. And yes. Oh my gosh, this is such a great point because
man.
When we watch TV, when we watch social media, we're watching other people live our lives. And I know sometimes we do it because we're grabbing for inspiration. Mm-hmm. But watch when you're grabbing for inspiration or you're comparing, judging, or using as evidence that you'll never be good enough, you'll never have enough. Really look for that. And the way to do that is to just delete anyone that doesn't make you feel great about yourself.
Delete.
Just on socials, people you're following, yeah. And to follow things that challenge your mind, expand your existence, have you think differently. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That have you challenged to. Because nobody ever goes, I wish I never went to the gym. I wish I never went for that walk. I wish I never had that hard conversation. Sometimes those hard conversations can end up in pretty scary places, but then there's more knowledge. There's more, there's a better understanding of where the other person is, even if it didn't go well. Mm-hmm. So it's, really choose your hard.
Yeah, and when you think about your children, if you were to step back, that's one. If you're watching your child, you want what's best for them, right? Let's say you could control what happens to your children's life, which is just a joke. But would you want them to fail and grow and try new things and completely know what the bottom feels so that they can learn on their own? Or would you want them just to have this perfect life where nothing ever happens to them?
Which is what we're doing to children right now.
Which is what we're doing, is we're throwing pillows so that they don't experience pain. And that is not our job as parents. And if you were writing a character for a movie, would you want your character, your hero, you would want your hero to almost go to the brink of death and survive so it's a good story. Mm-hmm. You would want your hero to face challenges that are way bigger than them, and you see their character as they overcome this dragon or this hardship or this challenge. And we are the actor and the hero of our own movie. And sometimes it's if you're in this moment and you face something really hard, what would the hero of my movie do here? And you get to change the expectations of, I want everything in life to be easy and go well and smooth, and God is blessing me because money's flowing and I'm healthy and da-da-da-da-da. We only think life's going good when it's going easy, and that needs a complete reframe. Mm-hmm. Just because things are going bad doesn't mean you're off course. It literally means that God's giving you the gift of patience, and you'll have to wait for it, the gift of perseverance, and you're going to get knocked to the ground. You gift
of skills so that you can continue to grow and expand.
Yeah, you don't just get skills or character or patience or love or self-control or discipline without having to overcome these major dragons that will give you those things. It's not just, here you go. Mm-hmm. It's life completely coming after you. And so we need to reframe what is hard. When it's hard, this is just what hard feels. Mm-hmm. Instead of going, oh no, it's hard, I got to run back to where it's not hard.
And here's the kicker. When you stay in comfort, life will throw something hard at you to deal with that's probably not of your choosing. So you can choose to sort of expand and grow into things that are hard. Or if you stay sedentary, then life will throw you a health issue. Or if you eat the food, life will throw you a health issue. I mean, I had a different example of bubble wrapping your children, right? I had growing up, all extremes of friends, and I had a big group of friends that their parents gave them everything. They had lots of money and all the things, right? And so many of those kids going through their early 20s then had to turn to drugs because they needed to create a friction of some sort because they had no adversity to overcome.
Yes.
Everything was just on a silver platter, and so therefore they created adversity. So if we don't have adversity to overcome, we will create it, or it will be created for us in a way that we don't want. That really isn't great. And so truly, you creating some adversity for yourself in a way of growing your mind, learning something new. Piano is a perfect example. I always wanted to learn piano, but I had a belief that it takes about 6 years to be really good at it. Now, had I done it when I wanted to do it when I was 18 years old, I'd be brilliant right now, right?
Yeah.
But at 18, I was like, it's too long. I don't want to do that. I don't want to commit to that. And so, everything that we want, that we feel is too long to become good at. I love those people that are in their 60s or 70s and they go back to university to get a law degree. I love that. Those people live a long time and they get the respect of young kids and peers because it's so much harder to train your brain to be a lawyer and to sit the bar when you're in your 70s. But those people are continuously growing the gray matter of their brain. They're expanding themselves. I'm not out. I'm playing all the way to the day of my death. I'm going for it. We follow so many people that in their 50s or 60s decided to transform their life and went from being 70s, frumpy and aging and pain and all these sorts of things to then turn it around to being ripped and fit, and they look like now 50-year-olds when they're in their 80s. This aging, you say this beautiful thing about aging is that it's the only thing that we expect to get worse.
And then let's wrap up with that. As we get older, it's the only thing that we get practiced at, and we expect it to get worse.
And everyone's, it's just old age, and no.
Yeah, and as we work out, we do expect to get stronger. If you play guitar, you expect to get better at it. If you work on your marriage, you expect the marriage to get better. But if you work on aging, no, that's just a toilet. That's just a dumpster fire. And what you expect or what your vision is, that's exactly what you're going to create. Mm-hmm. So the vision of how you age really has to be something of power and something that you are expecting to get better at aging rather than worse and worse and worse and worse. That's actually a conversation for a whole other podcast.
Love it.
But I want to wrap this up. We're definitely at time. I really want to make sure you're left with this, no matter how you're feeling. Some of you might be feeling stuck in a Groundhog Day and just looping the same thing. Just interrupt your pattern and do something that is outside of what you would normally do. Maybe call that person that you've been afraid to call. Go for a run, go for a walk, go to the gym, join a bowling club. Just do something that breaks that groundhog loop of you having the same thing showing up for yourself, and allow yourself to think a little different, experience something different, and truly live your life.
Mm-hmm. And a fast, easy way to do that is turn off the TV, have a month off TV, and see what you can do in that spare time. Get rid of all the people that don't make you feel good and follow a bunch of people that empower you. Do that creative thing. Go to the pottery class or the art class or the thing that you're scared to do.
And if you drink, then stop drinking for a month or two and just see the clarity that comes. Or if you're a smoker, just be like, what could I do if I wasn't smoking? What sports could I play? Really do begin to dream of what kind of life you could have.
Yeah, Toastmasters is a great one.
Toastmasters is great for a lot of people. Yes. Acting class.
All these things
that you could do, and you will be so uncomfortable and you will live like you're alive. You will feel alive, and you'll be embarrassed and you'll fail, and you will also be unrecognizable to yourself, and you can show up for others because you're not just stuck in this confirmation bias of your phone algorithm that's telling you the way that life is from your narrow perspective. And we get trapped there. So time to wake up and live, man.
And there's a radiance and a glow that comes from people that are putting themselves out there and experiencing something different.
Yes.
So that is the way forth. It's not some facial cream. It's not some magic pill. It's learning what your purpose is and stepping into it and failing and celebrating the failure because it's, woohoo, I learned something. Let's keep going. The brain's expanding.
Reframe failure as a great thing and as a good signpost that you're living. Yeah. Well, Jigs. So we're going to wrap that up. Our future conversations are all around freedom and alchemizing your situation into freedom and power and self-expression.
Something of greater value to you, to step into your greatest self.
Yes, and one of the tools of alchemy is doing things that are hard. Choosing something hard is a great way to trigger the alchemy response. It isn't going to happen by hoping for it or yay, let's hope for the best or pray for it. Maybe it'll happen. No, you have to take action, and then you'll experience some change. But so please, if you're watching this or listening to this on Apple or Spotify, please subscribe and share and leave a little review on Apple iTunes for us. That would be great. And if you're watching this on YouTube later, you could subscribe there too and share and leave a comment and let us know an area around freedom that you would like us to crack into and bring one of the tools that Kate and I have a program that we share, that we take people through an incredible journey, and we introduce and share these strategies and these conversations and these tools that really help them live a life by design and a life that they love.
And a life that makes them feel alive.
Yes. And so if you're stuck and you're looking for coaches, that's what Kate and I do. There will be a link below in the description of the podcast, as well as the YouTube and Facebook here, that you can just click and it'll take you to our page, and you can look at our programs and see which one you're a fit for. And then if you're a fit for our advanced program, we get on a 15-minute call, and just kind of see where you're at. Right?
Yep.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week on the Freedom Alchemist Podcast.
See you later. Have an amazing week.
I thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.